On this episode of Locked On Angels, the Halos explode with a huge first inning last night, and it ended up being just enough for a road victory. We're going to share all the details. Also, why does GMPM bring up pitching prospects and have them pitch out of the bullpen? John and I are going to explain and make a point that nobody else has made, and it's a good one, so hang with us. Time to get locked on with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked On Angels. And if you'd like to give back to the Super Halo Bros for all the Super Halo content, and we know you do, here's some things that you can do. Leave us a rate and a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe and become a Locked On Everydayer. And whether you're watching or listening, come over to YouTube, leave a comment. One of the best ways to get in touch with John and I and be a part of the conversation. And this episode of Locked On Angels is brought to you by Monarch Money. You can take control of your finances with Monarch Money help. And you can get started at monarchmoney.com. Use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB. You're going to get 50% off your first year.
Thanks for being here for this episode of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
It's our fourth season here as the hosts of Locked On Angels, lifelong Angel fans, talking Angels baseball with you Monday through Friday, every single weekday, 5 days a week. On today's show, why is the Angels defense, why is their defense so bad? They have bad offense. We'll talk about that. But why is the defense so bad? What are they doing to fix it? Some roster moves have made people question, what are the Angels doing with their top pitching prospects? We've got a take that we don't think anybody has considered yet. Not saying we agree, but it's something to consider, and we'll get into that in our second segment. First, Mike, we need to recap last night's 7-6 win for the Halos. Who's the bozo in the comments who already wrote, are you guys still wanting to fire Johnny Washington? Yes, the answer is yes. And so I'm calling you out. It certainly wouldn't be one of our everydayers because they're smart baseball fans. So I'm
not Torrid. Torrid's always got something good to say. We miss him, by the way. Hey, you gotta leave a comment in there, buddy. We would love to hear from you. John, this game, it felt like one of those games that was going to slip away, didn't it? It felt like it was about to fall apart, like what happened to the Guardians last Saturday, but they did hang on to win. Let me take you back to the start because that's when everything happened. Top of the first, the Angels had a huge inning, 3 home runs, 6 total runs on 4 hits. And it started with Zack Neto, who hit his 10th home run of the year, 5th in the leadoff spot. John, he's got a slugging percentage over 650 in his first at-bat of the game. He's 9th in the league. And I love the stat that they showed on the TV side. When he's hot in a game, when he's going well, the Angels go well. And when he's not, the Angels follow suit. So he really is the fire starter for this team right now.
As Zack Neto goes, so too the Angels. And I was chatting with Steve Lennox. He does the postcast for Locked On Red Sox. And he said, so as Jarren Duran goes, so do the Red Sox. And that's kind of what happened in this one too. But same with Zack Neto. When he is having a good game, good things happen up and down that lineup.
I'm glad he gets to talk about a loss. That's my favorite thing. Sorry, Steve. Sean Noel, John, was good in this game. 2 walks. He walked in the first inning. Then Taylor Ward blooped a single to right field. I love that he went the other way, and he wasn't chasing that down and away pitch, but this pitch was somewhat in the strike zone, and he just slapped at it and hit it the other way. Then runners at first and third, nobody out, and everybody thought, well, here comes a Soler strikeout, and the Angels don't actually come through, right? But Soler hits a line shot that's a fielding error by Abraham Toro at third base, bounces off his glove, and Matty V with doink. His sound effects are pretty funny. And so that allows a run to score, 2 runners on, and then Mike Trout, John, comes up and hits a massive 3-run home run, his 10th of the year to left center, 112 off the bat, 454 feet.
Yeah, incredible. He had 3 hits in this game. He now has 1,675 hits, passing Tim Salmon on
Favorite
the
Angel
all-time Angels history list here for most hits in franchise history. He's in second place behind the one and only Garrett Anderson, who has 2,368 hits. Man, is Trout going to even scratch that? I don't know, man. That's
a lot of hits.
Yeah, that's about no, not double. That's like, that's a lot of hits. Trout is 8 for 14 since returning from the IL. Are you ready to move him up the lineup now, Mike? What do you say?
No, I think because of what he's doing in that 5th, 6th spot, I'd leave him there.
Even with Soler in front of him? I mean,
I think what it does with Jorge Soler is that it gives Soler some better pitch selection.
Okay.
And so I think if we're going to have Soler in the lineup, which I think we should, I would rather have Soler have some protection because I think it gives him better pitch selection. And so, Trout higher in the lineup would be fantastic. But John, I love the Neto Sean Noel combination at the top. I think Taylor Ward can bounce between 3rd and 4. And if they move him up, I'm not going to be upset. But I think what Trout does is bring some protection for the 3 and the 4 hitter in this lineup. And if he's 8, he 8 for 12, 8 for 13. What is it?
14.
He is doing well. He's hot. So I don't think that you want to mess with Trout where he's at. And Ron Washington has a tendency to overthink things. I don't think you need to overthink this. Now, if he continues this pace, then I would begin to move him up. But he was in the perfect spot last night because they really were able to get the runs that they needed to win this game because Mike Trout came through for them multiple times.
With 1 out, my guy, Joe Adell, hits his first of 2 home runs on the night. This was his 8th home run, 404 feet. By the way, did we mention Trout's home run was 454 feet?
Yes,
like they were hitting him out of the stadium, man.
Crushed it.
And so this is the craziest stat. Mind you, Fenway Park opened in 1912. And so in all that time, this is the first time a visiting team has hit 3 home runs in the first inning at Fenway Park. And the Angels made some history as a visiting team. Red Sox pitcher Richard Fitz was having some fits on the mound. In his first 20 innings pitched this season, he's allowed 6 runs. And in the first inning versus the Angels, he gave up 6 runs, 5 earned because of that Toro error. Pretty incredible way to start the game for the Angels.
Johnny, I'm so glad they won this game last night because this felt like a Tungsten Arm O'Doyle tweet heading our way, right? Like, Angels are the first team in history of Red Sox Stadium at Fenway Park to get 3 home runs in the first inning, and they lose, right? Like, I was ready for that. So glad they got a victory last night. And Johnny, I was frustrated with Tyler Anderson because they spotted him a 6-run lead, and it should have been enough. But he really struggled in this game. 4 1/3, threw a lot of pitches, 93, and he gave up key hits, 3 key hits with runners in scoring position. The only thing that helped Tyler Anderson was the green monster because that limited a few hits that could potentially have been doubles, maybe even home runs in other parks. They kept them to singles. And the doubles that were off the wall, good on Taylor Ward and Joe Adell playing the carom so well. Yeah. They were right on it. I think they may have gone out there earlier in the day and just were throwing balls up there because they knew the caroms really well out there. And I think it saved Tyler Anderson more damage than he gave up.
If I was an outfielder, I would actually look forward to playing at Fenway just to, kind of have that experience and also be like, I got the green monster back there. Like, I kind of want to see if I can do this. So pretty great that they were able to handle that. So Anderson allows 5 runs, right? Hunter Strickland comes in and allowed the last 2 runs. Or he allowed another run to come in. So then that got charged to Tyler Anderson. So after leading 6-0, the Halos just had a 1-run lead after the 5th inning. Top of the 6th, the Angels get one of those runs back. Joe Adell with his 2nd home run of the game, his 9th on the year. It was the first home run since the first run scored for the Halos since the first inning, and was much needed because the Angels had 6 runs and 4 hits in that first inning. But then from the 2nd to the 5th, they had just 3 hits and no runs. And that ended up being the winning run for the Halos because the Red Sox were able to get back into this one and make it 7-6. Mike, how frustrating was it to watch Demmers versus the umpires out there on the mound in the 6th inning?
He struggled out there, and then the umpires were just not helping him out at all. But there's something about Demmers that you just kind of expect that he's going to have this kind of an inning. What I didn't understand, John, is I don't know why they don't let him go 2 innings. And maybe it was because he threw a lot of pitches and the umpires were not giving him his spots. maybe that's it. But Demmers is somebody that I think could eat up 2 innings. And so you save a Zephyr John or you save a Hector Neris, and then you get to Kenley Jansen. But obviously they didn't want to do that last night. But when he loaded the bases, it was a moment where I was like, you still want him in that starting rotation, some of you Angel fans, right? Like, because this is what he does, right?
Yeah.
And I get that he's a starter, he's not a reliever, and I would prefer to have him in the starting rotation. But if they're not going to, I just think like, and maybe I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, but I think that they could have at least had him go 2 innings. Do you think that they didn't because he struggled through so many pitches in that inning? The umpires were against him. What was it?
I think it's one of those situations, and you and I have called for this before. Let the guy go out there, get the job done, and then that be that,
Got
right?
it.
And so to bring him out, it would have felt like a Ryan Johnson in game 1 of the season to go back out there, and then, oh great, Detmers just gave up 4 runs, and then he just had a great inning where he battled through, and then you bring him out and he gives it up. That's just it. Looking into my crystal ball, that's I think the idea there, Mike, is just let the guy have his win and walk away from the mound in that one.
Yeah, this bullpen performance, they did close the game, but it did feel like we were flying in an airplane, and then the right engine was shaky and it went out, and the left engine was shaky, but it didn't go out, right? And the pilot was like, I think I got it, right? That's what it felt like.
And Nathan Fielder was flying the plane. There's a reference for you, my everydayers. There you go.
I love it. So Zephyr John in the 7th inning comes in, gets the Red Sox 1-2-3, struck out 2. I love that he had a good inning. ERA is now under 5. Yeah. Hopefully that'll keep dropping. Hector Neris comes in. John, we said it on yesterday's show. He's had a lot of scoreless, hitless appearances, but in the games where he hasn't, and this is now his 3rd appearance where he's given up a hit and a run, he seems to kind of fall apart. So he held the lead, gave up a home run. It was a 1-run lead for the Halos, but then Kenley Jansen comes in, shuts it down. And I was glad for that because I felt like any momentum in the bottom of the 9th, the Red Sox would have won this game. And Kenley, being the vet that he is, didn't mess around.
Yeah, no walks or anything like that. Yeah,
was just hitting the strike zone, which was great. Great game for the Halos to get this big win on the road. 3 hits for Trout, 2 hits for Adele, both home runs. And then shut up. And then shut up.
Can you repeat that?
No. Then Nolan Shonowell, 2 walks. Johnny, we're going to talk about him on tomorrow's show and what he's doing and how he's changed his approach, because he looks like a much better hitter than he was just a few weeks ago and a much better hitter than he was last year.
All right, before we wrap up this conversation, I'm just gonna gloat a little bit, stretch it out there, and give it up for my guy Joe Adele, who I've never lost faith in whatsoever on this show. And
give it about 2 weeks.
Okay, all right, yeah. Deal.
Yeah,
hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Coming up, why are the Angels so bad on defense? What are they doing to fix it? And what's up with the Halos and the way they use their pitching prospects? We're going to give you a take that nobody's really talking about, and we'll get into that coming right up.
You can get the supplies that you need and are made for the skilled trades at supplyhouse.com. Whether it's plumbing or HVAC or electrical work, supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website packed with all sorts of helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. They got an inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 plus top brands, which means you're going to find exactly what you need. It's going to be delivered fast from coast to coast. And if you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And if you're a trade pro and you're looking for an extra edge, they have a free Trade Master program, offers exclusive perks to great people like you, dedicated phone line, free shipping, discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage of this, and now it's your turn to join the Trade Master program for free. Supplyhouse.com/TM. And if you want to start ordering plumbing or HVAC or electrical supplies with just a few clicks, go to supplyhouse.com. Use our promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. Again, that's supplyhouse.com.
It's the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Mike, there was some roster moves that were made and some pitching prospects that were moved around, and in particular, Sam Aldegari from AA Rocket City. Now, the Angels did bring up Matthew Lugo from AAA Salt Lake. Of course, Robert Stevenson, kind of what we all thought would happen, went on the 15-day injured list. That's retroactive to May 31st. Yohan Moncada, been dealing with a knee issue. He's on the 10-day IL. Now, speaking of Robert Stevenson, he said he's trying to have the same optimism that the Angels medical staff have about his recent setback. He said, I'm kind of devastated. Honestly, it sucks to work this hard to get back and have that happen right away. It just sucks. He said the injury is right in the middle of his bicep, not by the elbow or the shoulder. So that gives him some hope that it's not a serious injury. He added that it's the same symptoms, which is why they're shutting him down. Stevenson said the opinion of the Angels medical staff gives him hope. He said the staff doesn't seem to be too worried about it, so I'll trust the professionals, but I hate it. I just got back here, and I want to be out there with the team. So, having said that, why is Sam Aldeguerri here, Mike?
Yeah, Wash said that he was the minor leaguer who best fit the profile to provide innings for the Halos. With Stevenson going on the IL, they wanted an extra arm. He added that they weren't considering him being in the major league bullpen, and the consideration that it probably could affect his long-term development as a starter. Wash said, that fired everybody up, by the way. Wash said, we never thought that far ahead. Right now, we need length, and for some reason, we decided that we wanted to bring him up, and if he needs more time or we need to send him back down or get him back on schedule, we're going to do that. And so that was the plan. It really wasn't a plan. They just brought him up according to Wash. Now, I don't know how much I believe that, but
was he not talking about Yohan Moncada pinch hitting the other day? And because he said we never thought that far ahead, what was going to happen after Mike Trout got on base and got an RB? Oh no, this is about bringing up Aldeguerri. Yeah. I see now. I got my wires crossed because that statement applies to almost everything in this
a lot that he does, right? Yeah. So Aldeguerri had a 4.34 ERA in 47 2/3 innings in Double-A with 48 strikeouts, 27 walks. Sam Blum kind of went after the Angels a little bit on Twitter yesterday. He said this, tweeted this. I thought this was an interesting thought. He said the Angels starting pitching prospects that they've used in the bullpen instead of continuing full-time starting progression over the last 5 years are Sam Bachman, Chase Silseth, Caden Dana, Sam Aldeguerri, Jose Soriano, Ryan Johnson, Victor Medeiros, and Chris Rodriguez. And then he did tweet and he said he personally disagrees with how the Angels are approaching this. And then you and I had an interesting conversation because you had an interesting conversation with a friend of ours. So John, tell me about the thought process with Sam Aldeguerri and what the Angels are doing with their young pitching prospects.
I was trying to understand why they're doing it this way when it seems like the consensus is, no, don't flip-flop these guys. Don't screw up their progression. And that seems to be the narrative out there. Now, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with one thing or another, but I'm just trying to figure out how Perry Minasian is thinking here.
Yeah.
Right. Now, it doesn't bode well to hear Ron Washington say, we haven't thought that far ahead. Again, that's really annoying when you're an Angels fan. However, Perry Minasian likes to do what the Braves like to do. And so I reached out to the biggest Braves fan I know, Lindsey Crosby, used to do Locked On MLB Prospects here. He does the Braves Today podcast. He also does the Braves postcast for Locked On Braves. He's also one of my co-hosts on Locked On MLB Game Night. So Lindsey and I are tight. We're tight. And so I reached out and said, help me answer this one. Perry Minasian loves to do what the Braves do. So is there anything to the idea that he's following some sort of Braves plan to bring up a starting pitching prospect and have them pitch out of the pen in the majors? It's been a pattern the last few years, and they're doing it again with Sam Aldeguerri. And Lindsey responded and said, Perry did that a lot here. Max Fried was a notable example among others. I think that's a very reasonable position for you to take. Alex Anthopoulos values innings and workload, but Perry valued experience and getting them comfortable. He also said, fun fact, I recently had someone ask why we got worse on all the little stuff, and they went back to losing Perry to explain why. And so I thought that was an interesting thing. But yeah, Mike, he's not incorrect because take a look at this, and I'll describe it for you if you're on the audio side. This is Max Fried's game history season by season. And you see that he came up with the Braves in 2017. On the screen here, I have a red box circled, and in there you'll see 4 games started, but 9 games he pitched in, which means he came out of the pen in 5 appearances and started 4 out of those 9 appearances. 2018, Mike, 14 appearances and 14 games that he appeared in, but 5 starts as a starter. And also interesting, 5 games that he finished. So he was at the end of these games. So again, in 2018, Max Fried got 5 starts, but he got into 14 games as a pitcher, 5 of which he finished. So he's coming out of the pen there. Then in 2019, 30 starts, but 33 appearances, which means at some point during the season, he came out of the bullpen at least 3 times, and he even finished 1 game in 2019. Then, as you see in 2020, he got a full-time gig in the rotation, and the rest is history. Right now, he's at a 1.92 ERA as a Yankee right now, and so incredibly dominant. But again, go back to the beginning of his career. 2017 through 2019, he's making appearances as a starter, yes, but also coming out of the bullpen. So I found that interesting, especially considering what Lindsay had to say about Perry valuing comfortability, Perry valuing getting these guys used to the majors, getting big league innings versus workload and piling on that. I'd say it worked out pretty well for Max Fried. Now, is it going to work out for Angel starters? That's certainly TBD. So it actually kind of made me just understand, what are we doing? Why are we taking these guys out of the rotation in the minor leagues? And again, I point back to Perry likes to do what he did when he was with the Braves as an assistant GM. And so here we are in that situation once again with Perry in charge. He's doing what the Braves did while he was with the Braves in Atlanta.
Today's show of Locked On Angels is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all of my money go? Oh, it was me. I spent it all, right? And so that's where Monarch Money comes in. They're your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You get to track all of your accounts, investments, and all your spending in one place. And then you can stop managing your money and start building your wealth. And money conversations with your partner, so much smoother with Monarch Money. Track those shared and personal accounts, set goals, stay on the same page, don't have all the stress. It's so good. So take control of your finances today. Download Monarch Money right now. Visit their website, monarchmoney.com. When you check out, use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB. You're going to get 50% off your first year. Again, monarchmoney.com. Use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year.
Mike, the Angels have had horrible defense this season. They entered last night's game having committed an error in 15 of their last 21 games, currently ranked 26th in the league in errors. That's not good. That means they're
bad.
They have the 26 most errors, right? So even worse is that the defensive mistakes have come at really significant times, and they've cost the Angels runs, they've cost them leads, things like that. Wash believes that the defensive issues have to do with the players making bad decisions. For example, going with a backhand instead of getting in position and facing the ball to field it. We've talked about Logan O'Hoppe and his struggles, and sometimes, hey, dude, you just got to eat it. Don't try to throw out that runner at second and throw the ball away, right? Because you might not even get them in the first place. Wash did say all the errors aren't just put on the books as errors. It's our decisions that are the worst errors, and they don't show up as errors.
Now, modern analytics, they go beyond errors and they evaluate the defensive player on their range and their efficiency. Ultimate zone rating is one of those analytics that measures how a player does defensively. FanGraphs, they rank the Angels in the all-encompassing defensive metrics as 29th in the league. Again, that's not good. And the only positions at which the Angels rate better than average, according to FanGraphs, is second base, left field, and shortstop. They are second at second base, third in left field, and at shortstop, they're 13th. John, the worst position rankings that the Angels have right now, catcher, They're 29th in the league. Third base, 29th in the league. Center field, 29th in the league. And right field, 25th overall in the league.
Yeah, that says a lot about what's happening with this team. Second base is interesting to me because maybe that's a lot of Rengifo doing better at second, but I also know that's Kevin Newman. It's been Tim Anderson, which I'm disappointed that he's not part of the team because he was doing great defensively. And then on the other side of things, third base is terrible because of Rengifo, right?
Yeah.
And so that's just a funny catch-22 there.
And I've noticed Scott Kingery, in the small amount of time that he has played, second base just seems too overwhelming. I don't know if it's that or he's hyped, right? Like, remember his first play at second base, I believe against the Guardians, he makes a diving stop and then throws it wide of first. It didn't hurt the Angels at the time. And then last night had a double play ball hit to him and he throws it wildly to Zack Neto, who has to stretch like a first baseman and kept his foot on the bag. They challenged the call, ended up call stands, right? And so that is my concern with Scott Kingery there, because he was playing some good defense in the minor leagues, but he was playing more shortstop and third base. So it's interesting that they're sticking him at second base when he's in there right now.
Yeah, well, they didn't think that far ahead, Mike. So
there is so much truth in that statement, by the way. That's a whole segment for another show, right?
Exactly. That'll be how many statements, how many things about the Angels can we say that about?
I'm writing it down now. Yeah.
Right. Now, like I mentioned earlier, O'Hoppy's had his issues behind the feet, but he's gone back to catching with both feet on the ground. Although the change showed some initial improvement in his framing, he still ranks toward the bottom in framing and blocking. And then in the outfield, it's been inexperience. You got Joe Adell and Kyron Paris learning center field because Trout moved to right. Bo Porter mentioned at the end of the day, whether it's Adell, whether it's Lugo, whether it's Paris, whoever we've played in center field has not given us the type of defense you normally need in center field at the major league level. Makes you kind of miss Mickey Moniak out there, actually. That's an interesting one right there. Yeah. The Angels recently added Chris Taylor, Scott Kingery, you mentioned, to help the roster with defense. Bo Porter said both have played the outfield, center field, and played them both at the major league level. There's a distinct difference there when you think about the experience of being there before. But the biggest surprise is that the left field metrics are positive, and this is funny because I feel like it's a sentiment that everybody can relate to.
Yeah.
Wash said that it doesn't always match the eye test, especially with Taylor Ward out there. He said at the end of the day, when they judge him on the numbers. They don't judge him on what you see. So that's a very nice way of saying all the complaints we have about Taylor Ward in left field are true. But defensively, he's been good. And we brought this up 2 years ago, Mike, when he first went to left field. He plays a safe left field.
Yeah.
He's not, not doing too much, not doing too little, right there in the middle. Right. Exactly. And so that's the thing with Taylor Ward is you see the lack of hustle and you get upset. But at the end of the day, the numbers say that he's a good defensive outfielder. But again, it's because he plays it safe, not taking as many risks as you might see out of a different outfielder.
He did make a dive last night, and I thought it was an appropriate dive, right? But I was surprised because I'm like, what's Taylor Ward doing on the ground, right? Like, is that grass stains on your shirt, Taylor? Right. Is your mama going to get mad if you dive and you got grass stains on your outfit, right? Like, that's kind of feels like what Taylor Ward does out there sometimes. Here's what's frustrating, John. Ryan Goings spoke about this, and what he had to say was very much neutralized in what all the other managers and coaches say. Like, it's right in the middle. And I'll read it and then I want you to respond. He said this: we've been really good at the routine plays. We come to work every day and we give the best effort. And then there's some plays that haven't been made. Like any other team, watch good teams. They do the same thing. And then Goings went on to say that the defensive miscues have to be viewed in the grander scheme, the bigger picture. He said, defenses can be streaky, just like offenses. You're never going to play a perfect game. You're waiting for the perfect game, but the perfect game is not going to be there. You're going to be waiting for a really long time. And then, of course, Bo Porter spoke up and he said, we need to be better. At the end of the day, we're trying to win Major League Baseball games. And this is hard, and playing defense is hard, and all of those things. This probably doesn't have anything to do with the defensive metrics numbers, John, but I am just tired of these nothing messages that get thrown out there, right? Like, hey, it's hard.
Platitudes, Michael.
Listen,
platitudes.
We know it's hard. The reason why we're not baseball players is because it's hard, right? But the reason why they're there is because they've been able to overcome what is hard. And I guess I'm just tired of making excuses for guys who have made it and should be really good at what they do. That doesn't mean they're not going to have defensive miscues and mistakes. I think the decision-making conversation is an important one that Wash can communicate to this team. And I actually think that he's spot on. That's where a lot of defensive mistakes are made because they're making decisions, or they're not thinking what's next, or they've distracted themselves. So am I right? Am I wrong to be frustrated with this situation? Because it just feels like we're throwing out clouds to everybody, right?
It's the same 50,000 foot view that we got from Johnny Washington about your defense, or your hitting slumps and your hot streaks, right? At the end of the season, you're going to look at this analytics, and you're going to look at the stats, and you're going to look at the data and see, they were pretty decent on offense.
And you're going to have 99 losses. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing, Mike, is for Ryan Goins to say, like, even good teams go through it. Well, good teams are not 26 in the league in errors.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's just like, stop, giving us these platitudes that don't line up with the truth of the matter. And the truth of the matter is you stink. Yeah. You're 26 in the league because you have so many errors. And you're right. I think Ron Washington is spot on with decision making, and that has a lot to do with it. Sometimes you just got to eat that. You can't throw that ball over to first if you don't have a play, and we've seen some great double plays turned behind guys, and especially with Zack Neto at shortstop. So there's some credit to be due to the Angels infielders. But yeah, especially when you're the Ron Washington infield guru, like that's a problem that ultimately goes to the top. And it's Ron Washington as the manager, and it's his name on it, and it's his brand on it. And it's not a good reflection of him right now. And to be honest with you, I think it has a lot to do with the players and their decision making, because that's something that Ron can't control. He can't control their decision making, but it needs to be brought up and say, guys, what are you doing out there? Like, here's how you need to attack this ball. Remember, we've gone over this. And so I think that that's an important reminder to pass on to the players. But again, this 50,000 foot view, this bird's eye view of, when you zoom out, it's really not all that bad. No, it's bad because you're 26 in the league, and we're, 3 months into this, or 2 months into this thing right now, and you're not off to a very good start. So stop with the platitudes. Stop saying baseball's a hard game. We get it. We understand it. That's why we're here and you're there, and we get to talk about you, and you get to play the actual game.
Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Now for your second listen, check out Locked On MLB Game Night. You can find it on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, be sure you give us a follow at Locked On Angels on Twitter and at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. Whether you're watching or listening, come on over to YouTube, get in the comments section. We want to hear from you. Are we right? Is Perry just doing Braves things when it comes to how they're handling their starting pitching prospects? And how do you feel about it? I mean, I don't think that I have an opinion on it. I think I would rather see the guys stay in the rotation in the minor leagues. I think the up and downness can be frustrating, but at the same time, these pitchers want to be in the majors, so they'll do it any way that they want to. So we'd be interested to hear your opinions on that. Mike, what do we have on deck for tomorrow's show?
Sean Noel really has been hitting and walking and reaching base more than he did at the start of this year and even last year. So what changed? Well, Jeff Fletcher had a great article, and Sean Noel shared what he is doing in his approach. And so we're going to talk about that tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
All right, looking forward to that conversation. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here with us, everybody, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday.
Podcasts are hard, and to come up with content all the time on podcasts are just really hard. And so you got to zoom out.